Uh, are we live? Testing? Okay. So, hello, YouTubers. Today is a complicated subject, fascism. Wow. Again, this is continue to be repeatedly happening the same time. I have one people waiting, and the moment I start making the stream, it disappears. That's okay. So, fascism. We've been seeing a lot of the so-called Antifa movement, which is supposedly against fascism. And the interesting part is that many of the people that are actually interviewed with real alternative media, many of them seem completely stupid and unaware of what they are protesting against, like this gun prohibition. The youth of America is going to destroy it if people don't wake up, because the Second Amendment is your freedom against tyranny, and Europe doesn't have it, and America has it. So they are keeping this strike against fascism. But why? We have the indoctrinated notion of fascism, which is evil, demonic, authoritarian, cruel. Well, all the bad words you can put it on it, you name it. So let's take a look at what happens in nature. How the species manage to get along with each other. And it's quite clear that many species adopted fascism, which, if we look of the notion of fascism, meaning, let's see Wikipedia. Wikipedia is the best information for us. Okay, so fascism is a form of radical authoritarian nationalism characterized by dictatorial power, forcible suppression of opposition, and control of industry and commerce. See how they indoctrinate you to lose your sovereignty just in this sentence. So basically, your country is not allowed to control, your government is not allowed to control the industry and the commerce, so it can give a quality of life to the people that live in that country. So this is from the start all a bullshit, because in nature it's quite clear that that's applied, but not in the way that we see today, because we see today this so-called democracy is created by plutocracy. Basically, democracy, we can call it this. This is the true meaning of the actual democracy, which is a form of society defined as being ruled or controlled by a function of wealth or higher income. And guess what? This is what is really happening. This is the so-called socialism, democracy, and communism, all related to this. But fascism as another complete correlation. And in nature, we can see in many species that many times it's the strongest or the wisest one, the oldest one that is the mastermind of the so-called group, and the eventually has some privileges. But in the predatorial is mostly the strongest one. But we see in these communities only one person, an authoritarian, one animal, the authoritarian that is going to rule his tribe with hate and all that stuff. Complete bullshit. We see that in nature that it works perfectly. We even see leaderless species like the birds. We cannot detect one bird that is supposedly the grandmaster because they correlate with each other. They have unity. You can call dictatorship the ants, which apply an extreme type of fascism, which it seems very similar to the democracy. They have to grab the parts that are still chaotic and not completely coherent, like the ants, which they have basically slaves for the queen, but the queen is also a slave. But she basically puts eggs, so they all are all slaves of themselves, basically. But it grows in numbers. But one thing that is very interesting in all this stuff is that it seems we are the only species on this planet that don't have the capability of unity for a common goal, which in this case could be quality of life for everybody, which is possible. We just have to stop this indoctrination, this fake money, and this fake politics, and this fake economics. It's going to be hard, but it's doable if you use the fascism, which is very well correlated uh, with meritocracy, which is a political philosophy which holds that certain things, such as economic goods or power, should be vested in individuals on basis of talent, effort, and achievement. Advancement in such a system is based on performance as measured to examination or demonstrated achievement. Also, the concept of the meritocracy has existed for centuries. The term itself was first created in 1958. Bullshit. I believe in the Hitler so-called regime used meritocracy since his country developed like a flash. You know, his economy grew in 3 years, where other countries take 20 years. So something was being doing right. He was following the natural law of things. Everybody has his place, since that's needed in education. I'm a living example of it. At school, I always enjoyed the science of the body, the natural sciences, and also enjoyed and work. I made chess, or I don't know the name in English of the other game where you use the chessboard, but I made one of those in wood with a draw in my sixth grade. So I was for sure a person that was good to deal with things, work with my hands, which I realized today. I love working with my hands, creating things. I'm a creator, you can also say that. But the funny part is when I changed to the seventh grade, yes, it was to the seventh grade, I always loved playing with metals and all that stuff. So I saw a course of metallurgic, and I subscribed to it to see if I gain access to it according to my file, to my personal file. Everyone could look and see that I was good with my hands. But no, they decided to put my hands in other works like agriculture. They opened a class for agriculture and I was in it. Oh, good of me. Which I have a family which that worked in the country with corn and all, with um, I don't know what to call it, a fruit or a seed that we use here. We like it. We call it termoso. It's all the people that come from abroad and try it, they love it. It's a special treat that we like to eat with the beer. Let me see if I can pull it up. And I'm diverging from the subject. Sorry about that. Here's the funny guys. It's this seed, I can call it. Grows like this. Is it this? I don't know if this is the plant. I think it is. Yeah, this is the plant. So this is a typical appetizer, you can call it. But going back to the point, and the meritocracy, which bring us to everybody having his place, and the thing that I was talking about, that we are the only species that cannot work together to find a common goal, because even in nature you can see that you can look at this video later on and see that there's teamwork even in animals when they want, for example, food. So you see the whale, the sharks, the dolphins, and the sea lions and the tunas. You see a lot of teamwork here too. It's like I imagine this like we all getting together and squashing the parasites that are out there trying to control us. And so that's the big problem, which we don't see the reality of things. Let me show you an example. I don't know if you know this person. This was the president of Uruguay. I only see in Portuguese. I want English, please. But basically, this is the true fascist, because he was in power. He could add all the money he could grab on his power, but instead he decided to take only what it needed to live a comfortable life, of course, and gave the rest to the people. We also have other cases of so-called fascists. We have Gaddafi. Gaddafi, like I talked in the prior video, was such a horrendous dictator that he gave all the profits of the oil to the people equally. Imagine the accountable to make that division. Oh boy, divide for all the people to have their fair share. A lot of work, but he cared about his people, and that is what we see in nature. We see an individual that has other individuals below by merit. Attention, very important. By merit, and they work for the community. They don't work to backstab people, to rob people, to do this, to do that, like we see with our government. We don't see. So today we are actually living the fascism that they reflected themselves. They basically reflect their ideology towards true fascism in order to demonize it, because under fascism countries thrived, and there are facts out there that anybody can look that up. So that's the big curtain that they put us in front of us. The only problem with fascism is getting the right heart to drive the rest, and that should be acquired with some tests and trials like in nature. That's why young people in politics are no good. We need wiser people. I don't mean old age people, but people that lived and learn and realize to be what it is in being the third person. That's what true fascism is living in the third person. You don't care about you care about the third person. Your life comes second. You care more about your people. That's the important part. And today, democracy doesn't care about their people. For example, in my country, we have the opposition, so called opposition, I call it control opposition, that a couple of days ago, a week ago, came and start complaining about Portugal having the highest rate of payments in electricity. And she complains about not having competition in the sector and this and that, but she forgets to mention, which is very important, and in any economy that starts to sell their vital resources like water, electricity, food, well, the vital resources to maintain an economy growing, sell it to foreign countries like Portugal did. We sell our electricity company. We have stockholders. I call them parasites because the only thing they want is at the end of the year their profit. That's all they want. They don't want anything more. And like always, they control the opposition and the leaders. They control everything. They control the narrative. I only watch 2 or 3 times the Assembly TV, which is a channel that transmits the assemblies of the so-called parliament, and it's completely brain deading. Those people are completely following a script. There's nothing there that is going to really bring a solution to the country because they have their paycheck, they have everything. That's okay. So this is the curtain that they are hiding from us, which is very important since it's quite clear that the so-called democracy is very easily manipulated. As soon as you start to control the majority, the other guys have no chance. But if you go by the law of nature and you follow the strongest leader, because he's gonna stick out of the crowd eventually. That's why you see some guys sooner or later they disappear. That's why, because people tend to live in the fear mode, and the fear mode doesn't allow them to speak, and that's our problem of unity. And we keep with this racist analogy, and people forget the, like I keep saying, they keep focusing on the effect but never the cause. And the cause is very simple. They have, since 48, to start to prepare people, to brainwash them, to start what is now the great migration to the other countries like Europe. And that's very easy to do. You start at school indoctrinating child that Europe and America is no good, is no good, is no good. Of course, they don't have access to other languages because they are not going to be taught other languages. That's vital for them, not having access to other languages, and they are going to teach in the hate speech mode. And those generations going to be indoctrinated by hating Europe and America. And guess what? Later on, America declared war on many of those countries that they were fabricating future generations. So it's simple to see how everything can be manipulated with education and mass propaganda, of course. So nature eventually has a explanation for almost everything, uh, but unfortunately, politics doesn't want to see that. Even science doesn't want to see that. Religion neither. So, like I keep saying, this is an individual and spiritual path to go into that mode. And I, I stated of the soul being the materialistic thing because I see other people which have interesting uh, visions of the world, which I'm trying to reach for that knowledge. Where is that quote of him? Here it is. Your body is merely a machine made to express the thoughts that flow through you and nothing more. It is but an instrument for you to express your imagines, just as a piano is an instrument for a musician to express his imagines. Just as the piano is not the musician, so likewise your body is not you. Our body is our vessel for our spirit, our conscience, our free will, everything that gives us the notion of what's right and what's wrong. And that's the thing that is forever. Our body are attached to the material side. That's why we have a physical appearance. And that spirit must do something to the codes of the DNA. There's so much information hidden out there. that could give us to the true knowledge. But oh, hello, hello. No worries. Next time, watch later. So that's it. The soul is just the biomechanics of this material world, and they really want to go to space because space is the metaphysical layer, which is not for physical things. I think it has a womb inside of a lot of liquid helium and monoatomic elements, which are the base of all this thing. But this is mere speculation since these guys completely screw everything, even religion. So religion is never going to lead you to the correct path. Oh, and I add another thing about spirituality that I want to talk about. Oh yes, this thing about transgenderism. You are completely using your spirit, which is doesn't have a sex, you can call it. They are using that to completely confuse the kids today because we are in a different era. We are in a more conscious era, and they somehow want to completely screw that up by bringing false. I don't know what to name this. This is completely unnatural. We don't see animals in nature trying to change gender. It's completely ridiculous. And there's a lot of kids doing that. And the sad part is that the suicide rate of those people is very high when they reach the age of knowledge. Because we all know when we are young, everything is funny and fun and all that stuff. But when we get older and we look back, oh shit, I did a lot of shit that then we start to understand things with other perspectives. This is our spiral in life. So Walter Russell is a good person. His books are quite difficult to read because he uses a lot of backs and forwards in his writings. But he has a lot of knowledge and he knows where the power is. The real power of a nation is in the woman. The woman is the only one that has the true power in nation to sustain that nation and make that nation grow on the true potential of which is babies. And interesting, all the fascists out there were promoting a lot of people to get married and have children, which is natural. But now they are promoting to people of the same sex to get married. I call it sterile marriages, and I feel I feel bad that there. isn't any. I believe there could be, but since the information is so sandboxed, it's difficult to find it. But I sure believe there is some psychologist out there that surely knows what happens to a child that is submitted to a monoparental state and is going to be affected with the other children because the other children don't have what we humans, old age people, call the hypocrisy. Children don't have that. They are very direct. That's the good thing that I like about children. They are very sincere. We start to lose that children's side because of this bullshit all around. Seems like the lies cover the children inside of us. Uh, no wonder the first lie is the tooth fairy, you know? That's the first lie you get. The tooth fairy is coming and the Santa Claus is coming. Your life is basically surrounded by lies. You go to school and you get indoctrinated in more lies. You go to watch TV, more lies. You read a book, more lies. No wonder people lie to each other so easily. Sad, 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 sad world we live in. But they know that this is very spiritual, that this is very metaphysical. That's why many metaphysical things that weren't seen are now starting to be seen, like the magnetic fields in the ferrocell. We start to see that those dielectric fields inducting the light. That's how our light works. It needs an electromagnetic environment to exist. And that's another thing that we are not completely taught correctly. So the question is, what is really fascism according with what we dig in the video? Is it a bad thing or a good thing? Well, it all depends on the way you embrace it, with the natural order of things or with the manipulated one. And because it's very visible that democracy is very corruptible, because people are only put there to earn their money and forget about the people. It's all about the corporations. And the corporations don't care about us, they care about their pockets for their families. Screw the others' families, where it's not easy to get to the conclusion, but if we look at all the money all around the world, if we take that 1%, goodbye poverty, goodbye everything, and a fair world for everybody. And America should start to educate their children because their children are going in the wrong direction. The gun is the safety of America. It's the safety to create a militia and throw down those parasites that are in the government and the CFR and the Senate and all that stuff. Kick those guys out so you can entrapped the real killers in the Middle East for the first time in history and have a proper war against tyranny and apartheid and all that stuff. That's the war we need to end this once and for all. Well, this could be considered as hate speech. I'm inciting for violence. I'm not inciting for violence. I'm inciting for logic and common sense. And logic and common sense will resonate mostly for what I said. So it's about time for the brainwashed Americans to do their role in history and finally can achieve that name that are called unfairly as the the continent of freedom. An example as portrayed in the movies. Even those guys portray your country as a nation of brave patriots and are completely going to the wrong wars. So it's about time to start acting like the movies and start chasing the real bad guys. That's not hard. Look at the hands. The hands in this case are a very good example. Nature has a solution for every problem. We just have to keep an eye open and see where the solution is. Not that drastically, but unity, the main ideology that we can draw for that kind of society, which is very authoritarian, very automatic, is very robotic. It's it's only thrives on the basic instincts: is survive and thrive and survive. We can be much more than that. They are, but they work in unity, and unity gives them strength. That's why they prevail. And in Europe here, this is also a big plan. If you look at diagrams of the charts of the average age of an European, and the majority, 60%, stands between 45 and 55. So it's an age where they cannot procreate anymore. And another interesting thing that we're gonna find is that there's a lot of uh, female birth rate in Europe also. And another interesting thing, the majority of migrants are young black boys. So this is not a coincidence, and people don't see that. And unfortunately, there are many channels out there that are going on the racist mode on this and start calling the N word and all the bad names you can name on those people when we can clearly see that even in nature, different species get along. We see in dogs, we see dogs from different species getting along perfectly. And we even see the inbreedings that many of them cause problems and the genetic manipulations we see on cats. I don't want to talk about that. That's horrible. I don't want even to talk about that. People are so I don't know. I don't know what to talk about. They don't want anything natural, you know? They crave for the unnatural. It's completely I don't know what to call it. But we are the only ones that keep on creating those geographical differences as the basis of division. And that's not the way we should go, because many of those people were indoctrinated as we were, but we had a chance to have information, internet, and all that stuff. They don't have that type of access. They were uh, slave traded, they were everything. And they were taught that the blame was on the Europeans and the Americans. So you can understand most of them come with hate, which is not their fault. They were taught that way. We should look at who are the ones doing that stuff. And I can guarantee you that they are in the Middle East. And these people are getting in Europe because of these fake wars. And they seem to keep that same racist analogy, which is wrong. Once again, focusing on the effect and not the cause. That's not how problems are solved. We know the effect, we go back, we can call it reverse engineering it, and go back to the source. And the source always keeps pointing to the same place, the same ideology, the same mentality. So that's it. Fascism is another demonized word that is not completely what is said. And nature tells us that. So, well, how much time I'm doing this? I cannot see here. What more can I say? Well, I think I said it all for now. Oh, by the way, I saved the best for last. I just enjoy seeing my subscribers. She's very interesting. They keep getting. I've lately getting some good subscribers. I have to thank for that. Finally, some things, but I also have other subscribers completely flatties. I don't understand why they subscribe to me. Well, I understand in one base, but on the other base, they don't have any shame. Especially this channel, which I've already been seeing him lately in oh man, I forgot the name now. It's not Eric Dollar. There is. Oh boy, I forgot about the name of what a blank. The guy from Magnetism. Damn, I completely forgot about his name. That's what you do when you brain fart a lot. Then your brain starts to brain freeze on ideas. What the hell is his name, man? Do I need to go to my videos to know to check it out? Oh my god. My brain is completely screwed up. Let's see. Ken Wheeler, thank you. My God, my brain is completely fried. And I saw in Ken Wheeler, but it seems now diverting for the National Socialist movement out there, it's which is completely racist. But they start the channel with some good information, then they bring the bullshit like the flat earth primer. They need 1 hour to prove that the earth is flat, when I prove it in 4 minutes, which is very easy. You just need to do an equation, which I don't see how many people don't understand this simple mathematics. Uh, this simple mathematics, which is, oh, this is quite big. I don't need it so big. So let's see. Here is 40,000. Yeah, equals. I'm gonna end write this. Free drawing. So 400. Oh, my drawing is so bad. My mouse, I think it's 54. This tends to 360 degrees of curvature. We want to know in 30. Whoa, this 3 is completely crazy. 30, we want to know how many degrees of curve we're gonna see. But this is a simple equation where we multiply these two and divided both. So in this case, which the x is here, you're gonna do only this and divide by this. You do this count, which is, I hope I'm not wrong with the number of the circumference of the Earth. Oh shit, wrong. First is this 30 multiplied by 360. 10,000 divided by 4054 equals, this is 0.2%. So we are going to see in 30 kilometers 0.2% degrees in this case, which we are looking for degrees. So of course, in 30 kilometers, you're not going to see any curvature. It doesn't reach even 1 degree curvature. And that's the fallacy of this all that I talked in the video. So I'm gonna wrap it up, stop broadcasting. And I hope you enjoyed. And I really would like to have people to join me and have a good conversation, which could be a good waking up for other people since shared visions and ideas are even better than one only vision. So leave a message, leave anything so we can arrange something. I have you can find me on Skype, which is Factory TMB. That's my Skype name. You can find me there and we can have private conversation or something like that. So hope you enjoyed and peace out.